Welcome to the Bella Vista Gardening program. I'm Geri Hoerner, and joining me today is Butch Tetzlaff, and he is the owner of the Bluebird shed in Bella Vista. And you can purchase bird seed, bird houses, anything connected with birds or then outside, or your garden. You have wonderful garden items too. Mm-hmm. So, but today we're going to be talking about birds of Bella Vista. And so there's a lot of different birds we have here in Bella Vista, and Butch is going to tell us about them. And also, we're talking about upcoming events and telling you what to do in your garden for October. So, first of all, I want to thank our new sponsors. We have two new sponsors, and that is the Bella Vista Garden Club and the Benton County Master Gardeners, and they have both joined the community television station as director level. So we're just really excited to have these new sponsors. They've always supported us in the past, but now we're kind of official. Let's make it more official. So, but just fortunate to have their support. And then upcoming events, the Bella Vista Garden Club will be holding a benefit card party after several years of being out of commission with that. So they're starting up again with their card parties. It's going to be October 21st at the Highland United Methodist Church on Glasgow Road, and it's from noon to 4. And we're going to serve our lunch prepared by our members, which everyone loves. And they're going to have wonderful baskets for raffle, and some of the baskets are worth a lot more than usual. So it's going to be a great luncheon, so that's put that on your calendar for October 21st. And you can get more information on the website. You can sign up on the website for that, and that's bellavistagardenclub.com. Then the fall, we don't know what the fall weather is going to look like because we've had such a drought in September, June, August, September. Anyway, we'll see what the colors look like, and we just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's always a guess, so. But hopefully it'll be pretty. But anyway, we're here to talk about the birds of Bella Vista, and Butch has been tracking birds with the program he's developed.
Yes, we have. Yeah, thank you, Geri. Thank you for having me on the show. So, yes, we've been tracking a number of things. This started 42 months ago now.
Really?
If you can believe that. Yeah, so
Oh.
3.5 years ago, we started tracking the birds of Bella Vista. I wanted to do some, what I'd call more, authentic research within the store's environment. And
like a regional area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely, more in a regional area. And the database of the customers in the store were a fine group in order to be able to pull in and start getting some of that citizen science going on a local area. Now, there are a couple of these surveys that are going on throughout the country, but not that many. It's really more about a handful.
Really?
Yeah. So the Breeding Bird Survey is sponsored by, of course, the Breeding Bird, the U.S. Geological Survey, and that happens in the springtime only. Okay, and then the Christmas bird count, of course, is an Audubon, activity that's been going on for 100 years.
Oh my.
And that only goes on during Christmas. Okay, so a few areas have realized that what we really need is more local, kind of hands-on bird identification and counting that's going on at a more, like you said, regional, even local level, to track things as things change, as the environments change in a local
so
type
sad,
level as opposed to
have,
landscape.
We have lost so many birds over the past, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost frightening to see how many birds we've lost.
Yeah, and most of that's due to habitat degradation in a lot of different areas, both in North America and South America. But we also see some of that habitat degradation in our own local areas, and we're tracking that as well then as well. So, and we've got about somewhere between 25 and 40 people that participate each month. They do a count the full weekend. You can count as little as 15 minutes or as 4 hours or more if you really want to sit down and drink your coffee and sit at your table and just watch the birds all day. Yeah, you can do that as well. But it's really been good. What we're seeing is a seasonality effect. We typically anecdotally have known that September and October are kind of a lull in the birding world and at our feeders. It's very common industry-wide. It seems to be common. Why that happens is we really don't know. So first thing we needed to do is track and find out whether this is a real phenomenon or whether it's just an impression that people have.
Maybe there's more seeds out there from the
That's the
native
general
plants,
hypothesis. Yeah, and I could go into
they don't
about
have to go to the feeder.
Yeah, I could go into about a dozen different scientific reasons for it. I won't inundate with people with it today, but for the most part, though, we're just tracking it to find out what's really going on, and it's kind of the start of a research effort. That branched out into some additional research in a collaboration with the University of Arkansas. A friend of mine, Dr. Jennifer Mortensen, professor down there, was interested in getting back into bird research. She kind of taken a little hiatus from the avian world and gotten into the herpetology world and doing lizards and snakes for a little while. So she decided she wanted to get back into the birds. And I says, you need to come up and talk with the Bluebird Society folks up here, because we got 600 boxes that are just ready to be used and monitored. And
we
utilized
monitored those boxes for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's,
and I thought, well, I've been here like 28 years, and I thought when we moved here, we were the Bluebird capital of the United States, because we had more fledglings than any other city.
Yeah, right. It's in the thousands. Yeah. I mean, it really is pretty tremendous.
Let people know that we're the Bluebird capital of the United States.
Yeah, so anyway, Jen and I got together and we started formulating some different ideas of what we could do utilizing some of the Bluebird Society boxes. The Bluebird Society was kind enough to loan us, if you will, about 100 boxes. So we've taken over 100 to monitor, and we've been doing that the last 3 summers. And involved with the monitoring, we also banned all the nestlings in the boxes themselves. So we color band each of them with a unique color identifier.
That is something I really think is interesting, to see how you put these little bands on these little legs,
Yeah, for sure. I've brought some bands in here. If you can perhaps zoom in and show the audience
what they look like,
what some of these bands look like. I don't know if I need to hold it up or not, or we're going to pan in here. I can do it this way here. Can you get it there?
So they're color-coded for...
Yeah, zoom in, there you go. You can see each individual little band there. Yeah. Okay, so we've got 7 different colors there. And of course, a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service band goes on one of the legs as well. So we can put different combinations on each one. They're all uniquely color-coded. So when we see them out in the field again, or homeowners take pictures, oftentimes they'll see them at their feeders. They can get a good picture, or we can zoom in on the picture, and then we can see exactly which one.
So if it's green and yellow, then you know what bird that is.
If it's green and yellow on the left leg and red over silver on the right leg, it's a particular individual. Yeah, you got it. We know exactly when it was banded, where it was banded. Yeah. So.
That's amazing how we can get those on those little legs.
We've tracked them all around Bella Vista. We've got some homeowners that have fledglings from previous generations now nesting in their yard, and we know exactly where they came from. Some came a half mile away, just down the street. Some of them are literally daughters and sons of last year's brood.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't know exactly what happened to the parents, but one of the offspring has taken over the box and is subsequently
that's amazing.
Subsequently bred in that box. We did have a report one time from the Fish and Wildlife Service. I got an email sometime last year, and it said that one of our bands had been found somewhere else in the United States. So I looked it up, and it turns out that our bird had been found in Houston. Yeah, so we know that one of our Bella Vista birds ended up in Houston. Unfortunately, it was a window strike, so we didn't make it, which is kind of sad news. But at least on the positive side, we do know where he went, and it was
well, speaking of that window strike, there's a certain formula to keep your birdhouse or your bird feeder away from your windows or close to your windows. So what are the lengths of, how far away should your feeder
Yeah,
be?
that's a good question, actually. I get that question quite a bit.
Yeah.
The general kind of rule of thumb is the closer you can get your feeders to the windows, the better off you'll be, or the further away you can get them from the windows, the better off you'll be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually that middle kind of range, that 15 to 30 foot range in there is
That's
the
death
most
zone.
dangerous. Yeah, it's a death zone. Yeah, exactly. It really is. So if you get your feeders really close to the windows, they actually even have window feeders that you can attach
Yeah.
to the window. The bird sees the object there, they land on it. It's not a problem. If they're further away, if something spooks the bird, they flush up, they'll fly away from the house and the trees and everything along those lines. But in that 15 to 30 foot range is kind of the danger zone. And what happens is when a predator comes in or something causes them to flush, they just are trying to get away quickly, not really paying attention, and they're trying to get through anything that they can. And at that point, they're seeing a reflection of the exterior
Of the
in the
woods in the
windows. Exactly.
window, yeah.
So they think they can fly through the window because it looks like there's woods on the other side when there's really not, and that's when it gets them. So
Yeah.
so if we can kind of keep our feeders away from that kind of mid-range.
Yeah, that's the death zone. So,
Yeah.
because we have had birds hit our window, and then we put the little stickers on the window that seems to help too.
Yeah.
There's a little sticker, so
Yeah, it creates a
But-
little object.
yeah, that's not usual. So, but that's always interesting to make sure you got your feeders at the right place, and your bluebird houses have to be in a certain location and all too.
Yeah, what we're finding out with our studies, that's part of the research we're doing. We're actually doing a landscape scale study. We're looking at box orientation, we're looking at height of the box, we're looking at various box characteristics, the type of the opening of the box. We're looking at its proximity to trees, looking at proximity to buildings and parking lots, that sort of
Bushes
thing.
and
Yeah, you
things,
got it. Okay, all those different factors that are environmental characteristics. And we're going to plug those into a mathematical model and then figure out which ones are significant, which ones are not significant in terms of box placement. But
Yeah.
the preliminary kind of work that we're kind of discovering at the moment is that bluebirds really do like an open type of area. They are savanna birds. Savanna meaning sparse, large sparse trees. If you think of those have been around the Bella Vista Cemetery as a classic savanna type habitat. It's mowed lawn, okay, so it's very short grass. The trees are very old, several hundred years old. They're large oak trees. It's classic savanna type habitat.
Well, I know we have on our golf courses, we have boxes at the 150-yard marker.
Yeah, right.
And that's pretty good
Yeah.
locations too, with all the fairways.
Yeah, exactly. It's again open kind of habitat,
kind,
that it's not densely wooded. So we recommend that people put their bluebird boxes anyway, out away from the house a bit, but not into the woods. If you, even just a few feet into the woods tends to draw chickadees, which are more of a woodland bird or Carolina wrens.
Because you do get other
Yeah.
birds nesting
Yeah.
in those boxes.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you're monitoring that too.
Which is not a problem to have other birds if that's what you
No,
want.
yeah.
They're great little birds too,
Yeah.
but most people,
They want
prefer
the
to have the
bluebirds.
bluebirds. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So keep the boxes away from the woods and the dense areas. Keep them away from under, trees, the overhanging branches and things along those lines.
That the cats could climb and get to them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to watch
So,
out for cats too.
yeah, so that's kind of an ideal placement. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you sell the bluebird houses at the
Yes, we
from the
do,
Bluebird
yeah.
Society at the at your
Yeah,
Bluebird shed.
we've had a great alliance with the Bluebird Society for the last 5 years. They provide all the nest boxes for the store. They're official Bluebird Society boxes, and it's a fundraiser effectively.
That's
the
great.
proceeds go back to them. They give me a small cut for carrying the inventory, which is fine, and that's good. But
Yeah.
but predominantly it's a good fundraiser for them. We've sold at least, I want to say, around 250 boxes in the
that's
5 years for them.
wonderful.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's generated quite a bit of income.
Yeah.
People ask why the Bluebird Society needs the money. We get floods on the golf courses where
Oh,
they're at
yeah.
all the time. Sometimes destruction happens, whatever.
yeah.
A variety of things can happen through natural
Yeah.
and man-made causes, but sometimes the boxes need to be
Just be
replaced.
replaced,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they age over.
Yeah.
They've been out there for 40 years in some instances.
Yeah,
so
they have been.
They do need to be replaced
Yeah.
oftentimes. So it's
So what are the most common birds in Bella Vista?
common feeder birds. Yeah. So we've got obviously bluebirds. An interesting thing about our feeder birds is that most of them are non-migratory. which means they're just resident birds. They stay here.
They're just
They
here
tend
all
not-
the
Yeah,
time.
they're just here all the time. Okay, so there are a thing called partial migrants. Bluebirds are partial migrants, meaning that some of the population will move south, some of them do not. That's part of the study that we're working on with the bluebirds, is to determine, which particular individuals are doing what and why. But the common birds are bluebirds, chickadees. We get Carolina chickadees down here, not black-capped chickadees. Carolina wrens are another one. Northern cardinals. 6 different kinds of woodpeckers are here all year round.
Yeah, I know we
Okay.
got a lot of woodpeckers.
Yeah,
different woodpeckers.
lots of woodpeckers,
Yeah,
especially the large pileated woodpeckers about the size of a crow. So
Yeah,
those
we
are
have a
always nice.
nest. We have a nesting of those in our woods
Yeah.
near us because we see them all the time.
Yeah, right. Large, yeah,
They're
so,
huge.
another common one is mourning dove, tufted titmouse. Those are another common feeder bird as
Now
well.
the blue jays, are they basically south birds? Because I thought I had heard somebody in Tennessee said they don't have any blue jays.
Yeah, well, that's
But-
interesting. No, they're pretty ubiquitous across
Across the-
at least the eastern United States. I'm not quite sure on the western
Yeah.
side, but certainly on the eastern side of the United States. They are a migratory species.
Are they?
Yeah, so they
Okay.
tend to, you'll see them moving through quite a bit. I remember doing some banding up on Kelly's Island in Ohio during the springtime, and you would see those guys just constantly going north. I mean, they were just on the
Oh,
move, and they would be
Almost
flying
like the
overhead.
like the geese going north.
Yeah, exactly. It was just large
Mm.
large groups of blue jays just moving through.
I'll be
So
darned.
yeah,
The birds are so unusual, to track them and everything and see where they go.
Yeah.
Well, most of the bird books I've seen where they identify the birds, they'll show you a map of where they are normally found, and then every once in a while you find them in an area that you're not supposed to be, or they're
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
yeah, not that common. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
have you found in your reporting a really unusual bird that you just were surprised to see here?
That's a good question. People do report some odd things every once in a while. I would say more common really than unusual in the terms of rare. We tend not to get that many rarities around. There was a white bird that was flying around one time that people would spot, and they would come into the store, and I could actually track it moving around Bella Vista. It was a released canary. Somehow or
Oh,
another,
my.
a canary had escaped, and it was moving from feeder to feeder, and people were coming into the store. I've got this white bird at my feeder. What's going on? I says,
Oh.
oh yeah, well he used to be a half mile down the road from you. Now
It's
he's kind of moving along Bella Vista.
Yeah.
We don't know whatever happened to him.
Well, we get a roadrunner once in a while.
Yes.
That's an unusual bird.
Yeah,
I
that
think.
is. Yeah, not that common around for
Yeah,
this area for
But
sure.
She shows up, or he, I don't know if it's he or she, but it shows up every once in a while and just runs through the garden. So.
Yeah, we're right on the fringe of the roadrunner. Roadrunner's western
western,
habitat. Yeah,
yeah.
so right on the fringe there. So
Well, he must have lost his map.
yeah.
He lost-
Bella Vista and even Arkansas in general is kind of a good spot. I like to tell people it's not really north, it's not really south, it's not really west, and it's not really east. It just kind of
It's
depends
kinda
on
right in
which
the
way
middle.
exactly. It just kind of depends on which way the wind is blowing as to
Yeah.
what we get around here. So
Okay.
it's
And
a
then-
nice spot to be.
Okay, and then, like I said, the Bluebird boxes are available
Yeah.
at your,
Yeah,
at your
so
shop.
yeah, we've got an example box here. This one happens to be an experimental box. Jerry Butler created this for us from the Bluebird Society. I don't know which camera we're going to be on with these, but if you want to zoom in here, and you can see what's going on here. Jerry helped us out and design this thing. So this is an antenna on the exterior here, and we've got another one on the interior. And I've got you can zoom right in on this little tip right there where my thumb is at. Now what you can see is a little glass ampule right there. And that little glass ampule is a radio frequency identification tag. It weighs next to nothing.
Oh my goodness.
But they do have bird bands where these little ampules are encased, pre-encased on the bird band, and then you can attach these to a bird band, to a bird's leg. And every time then they go in or come near the antenna, the radio frequency system that's in the back here, and I'll turn it around, and it gets registered on an SD card on the inside of this computer guts, if you will, and the internal workings here. But it's a fabulous little setup, and it's allowed us to monitor the comings and goings of individual birds during feeding season, during the feeding of the nestlings.
Yes, how many times they come in and out.
Exactly, and
how
when
many-
exactly they're doing that. The original study was to look at whether the birds will use the boxes during the non-breeding season. So we actually set it up intentionally for monitoring them during the non-breeding season. Most studies will look at the breeding season for obvious reasons. It's generally just more interesting.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it usually is only about 3 to 4 months long. Okay, so what are they doing during the non-breeding season for the other 8 months?
So we've computerized the bird world.
We have computerized the bird world, yeah. So this has really been fantastic. So we get tens of thousands of hits on this thing in a very short period of time. We've also banded the nestlings within these boxes. Okay, and as luck would have it, and this is absolutely pure luck, but Western bluebirds are known to engage in what's called cooperative breeding, which means the nestlings, once they fledge, will come back and help the parents with the following broods, feeding those following broods. So it's basically older brothers and sisters helping the younger brothers and sisters.
I thought it was just mom and dad.
Exactly. Okay, so in Western bluebirds, it's fairly common. Okay, and they pretty much got it down to an environmental constraint that tends to cause it. Eastern bluebirds are not known for that behavior very much at all. In fact, it's pretty rare. Okay, we set one of these boxes up in a homeowner's yard. It was willing to allow us to come in, change the batteries periodically. They have to be changed about once a month. And they were willing to watch the comings and goings of the box, the activity as well visually, so that we could corroborate the data that we were getting inside the box with visual observations as well.
Right.
And what we discovered, lo and behold, in this one particular lucky box was the nestlings of the first brood were helping the second brood out, and the second brood were helping the third brood out.
My
And it was
goodness.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So we've got the records of their comings and goings and doing that sort of thing. So
That's just
we've had
amazing.
3 instances of homeowners, well, 2 other instances of homeowners reporting that type of behavior. One was anecdotally. They pretty much were pretty convinced. They were pretty convinced it was going on, even though they didn't have any hard evidence for it. They were just the activity and the behavior that the fledglings were engaging in just kind of gave a clue, and they were carrying, it looked like they were carrying worms and things like that. Another homeowner actually happened to get it on film, so he actually got the video of them doing it. So that was obviously definitive proof, and then we've got it with this box now as well. So
We're always learning.
And we're always learning. Yeah,
It's just amazing.
It is fantastic. Yeah. So this is a prototype. We've got a couple other boxes out there, and Dr. Mortensen now is a graduate student, and she's starting to build up her laboratory down there at U of A. And it would really be nice if we could get somebody monitoring, several of these boxes out in the field and see if we can capture that behavior a little more common in what's going on there.
It's just amazing.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
So, and then I know you're doing seminars too, once in a while, different locations.
Yeah,
I think Hobbs
periodically, we do. Yeah, at Hobbs State Park. That'll be going on in January again. Starts up in January, February, March, and April. We do it in conjunction with the Wonders of Wildlife that the Hobbs State Park sponsors out there in January, and then we do it once a month subsequently. Oftentimes they'll bring in other biologists or other rehabilitators, like Lynn Scombato's been out there before. I'm right behind the presentation, so our presentation, so it just becomes a large, just kind of nice public event.
Right.
That's good to see. We set out there in January. The Hobbs Visitor Center, located out there on Beaver Lake, is a wonderful spot. They have a nice little pond behind their visitor center, and for the last probably 6 years, I think it's been now, we've set nets up behind their visitor center to catch the birds, bring them inside the visitor center, walk them around the audience, talk about their feeding ecology, their breeding biology, their migration habits, what have you, answer any questions the public may have, and turn around and release the birds back outside a couple minutes later, so it doesn't really stress the birds out at all.
It's a great learning opportunity.
It's
really
absolutely
is.
fantastic. It really is. And
we need to do as much as we can to save the birds because they're dwindling.
Yeah, unfortunately they are. Yeah, the long-term studies from the Breeding Bird Survey started back in the 70s have recorded a 40% decline over the last 50 years. So I mean, to think 40% is almost half, right? So that means when I was growing up, essentially there were twice as many birds then than there are now. All over the place. So it's really unfortunate.
And
that
then
it's happening.
the seed, you sell the seeds, and it's seasonally that they choose certain seeds over other seeds. Is that a seasonal thing too?
It is to a certain degree. There is a seasonality with respect to bird feeding. And one of the seminars I give is on bird feeding 101, and it talks about that seasonal variation and the best way to feed. Like, for example, hummingbirds are only around during the summertime, between April and October for the most part. You know, so you put your hummingbird feeders out between April and October, obviously.
Yeah.
Most people have a limited number of hooks, hangers that they want to
Right.
put out, in the backyard. So in the summertime, then, once that is over, you take their hummingbird feeder down and
Yeah.
you put suet back up again for the winter time. So you can, do
So
some
you shouldn't be
different types of
putting
food.
suet out until winter?
You can now. They will be attracted to suet,
it's
but they
better
don't.
for 'em to
But they
have-
don't necessarily need the high fat content
Yeah.
now.
In
In
the
the
winter
wintertime,
they
for
do,
sure.
they do need
definitely.
Because I found that if I put my hummingbird feeders hanging from my soffit, my roof, the raccoons don't get up there and, if you hang it from a hook, it's disaster because the
Yeah.
raccoons go and empty it every night,
Yeah.
but I hang them from my roof, my
Yeah.
overhang.
Yeah, which is
And
a
it's
real
pretty
good.
safe.
It is safe. That's a real good way to do it. I recommend
Yeah,
doing that
yeah.
too. It's
So,
very effective.
well, this is wonderful. So your upcoming seminar is starting in January or so.
Yes.
Okay, we'll probably put something on our website about that, so we can let people know where it's going to be and what time, different
please do.
seminars. That would be great. So I just think it's wonderful what you're doing with birds and getting all this information. And of course,
Yeah.
I've told you several times the weekend that we're supposed to count. My birds are there on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday they disappear, and then Monday they come back. And I've got other people to back me up with that because it's amazing that I don't have very many birds on that weekend. I don't know what it is.
You'd be surprised at how many times I hear that. It is really pretty funny. So
It is funny.
Who knows what's going on
So,
there?
But, well, thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome,
and
Geri.
explaining
Thank you.
all this. And we have to talk about what to do in your garden in October. And we're dwindling down now, and the annuals and the herbs are kind of dwindling down. You just have to harvest, and as soon as the temperature at night gets to be about 45, so they're going to be out of your garden anyway. So, and then you want to bring in your tropicals and your house plants when it gets below 50 at night. But you need to use some I can't think of the name of it. Insecticidal soap, so you can keep the bugs from coming into your house. So you need to spray them and make sure there's no bugs and spiders and frogs. I had a frog in my house one time when I brought a plant in, so check them before you bring in the house. So, and the mums should be blooming now. I think they're a little bit later this year than usual, but they're going to be blooming, so kind of keep them deadheaded and they'll kind of redo themselves. So, and bulbs, this is time to plant bulbs for spring blooming. And the roses, you want to stop deadheading now and let the rose hips farm. And then lawns, you still need to get those leaves off the lawn. If they're on your lawn, get them off your lawn. You can leave them in your beds, but not on your lawn. Trees and shrubs are a great time to plant trees and shrubs in the fall. So this is a good time, but then you have to monitor the water, make sure they get enough water. And the vegetables are kind of dying out right now. There wasn't a very good year for vegetables. Even the county fair saw smaller vegetables and gourds and all. So it was a hot summer. It was really and dry. It was a hot and dry summer, so it was kind of bad. But anyway, be sure to just enjoy the fall crisp weather, and hopefully we'll have some color coming in the next month or so. And that's all you can do. So just enjoy that. And if you have any other questions about gardening, the Benton County Master Gardener website has a lot of information. It's bentoncountygardening.org. And then the Bella Vista Garden Club has a wonderful website with a lot of information too. And the Benton County Master Gardeners, their next meeting is November 1st at the Bentonville Church of Christ on Northwest 8th Street. And social time is 5:30, and then they meet at 6 with a program. And this coming month is going to be Ask a Master Gardener panel. So you have to bring your questions to the Master Gardeners and they'll answer them for you. And the October meeting of the Garden Club will be Wednesday, October 26th at the Community Church in Lancashire, and have coffee and pastries there at 9:30 in the morning. The meeting starts at 10. And this month is going to be Rich Fletcher, who is a member of our club, and he's going to be talking about my experiment in least resistant gardening, and meaning envision what you want, make peace with what you have. So this is going to be a very interesting program, as we all envision having this one, beautiful garden like maybe Queen Elizabeth had at Windsor Castle, but that doesn't usually happen. So, but guests are always welcome, and there's more information on the Bella Vista Garden Club website. So, but thank you, Butch, for joining me today and sharing all this. I'm still amazed at those little bands you put on those little legs. That just amazes me. So
Thank you for having me again, Jerry. Appreciate it.
Okay, and I hope you've enjoyed the show, and until next month, don't forget to stop and smell the roses.